Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are tackling something that, well, it feels almost inevitable if you drive around Portland for long enough.
Oh, yeah. That sound, that horrible tick when a rock flies up from a truck on I-84.
Exactly. And then you watch that tiny little chip spread into a giant crack across your windshield. The first thought is always the same.
Always. What is this going to cost me? It's that immediate sinking feeling.
And that's our mission for this deep dive. We've gone through the source material to give you, our listener in the Rose City, a clear, actionable guide to the actual expected costs.
We want to cut through the confusion, so let's just get right to it. The big number you need to have in your head, the overall range, is generally between about $200 and $600.
So 200 on the low end, 600 on the high end, that's a huge gap.
It's a massive gap. And the key thing to understand is that the price has less to do with the repair shop and almost everything to do with the car you're driving.
Okay, so that's where this is going to get really interesting. Let's start at the bottom of that range.
Yeah.
The easy one.
The cheap fix.
Yeah. Who gets to pay that nice low $200 to $350? What kind of car are we talking about?
You're likely driving a really common passenger car, maybe a few years old. The sources specifically point to things like, a Honda Civic or a Toyota Camry.
The workhorses of the road.
Exactly. For those cars, yeah, you're looking at something in that $200 to $350 range.
So why is it so much more affordable for them? What makes it a simpler job?
Well, it's fundamentally a mechanical task. I mean, it's a precise one, don't get me wrong, but it's straightforward.
No complex electronics to worry about.
Not really. The glass itself is it's just glass. There aren't any sensors or cameras embedded in it. The technician removes the old trim, cuts out the broken windshield, applies a very specific adhesive, and then sets the new one.
So it's a process that hasn't changed much in decades.
Pretty much. The low cost is all about volume. Lots of these cars on the road means lots of affordable glass and simple labor. But that simplicity is basically ancient history for anyone in a newish car.
Right. And this is where we hit that big jump in price. This is what we're calling the LOS effect. And it's the absolute core of what you need to understand if you're driving a modern car.
It really is. ADAS stands for Advanced Driver Assistance Systems.
That's the catch-all term for all the new safety tech, right?
It is. And the critical point is that the system's eyes, its cameras and sensors, are very often mounted right there on the windshield.
Give us some examples of these systems. What are we talking about?
We're talking about things you probably use every day without even thinking about it. The simple stuff, like your automatic rain sensors that turn on the wipers.
Okay, yeah.
But also the really crucial safety features. Lane departure warnings, for instance. The system that nudges you back if you drift on the highway.
Or even the heads-up displays that project your speed onto the glass.
That too. All of those systems are looking through the windshield. It's their window to the world. So when you replace the glass, you're not just putting in a pane of glass.
You're performing surgery on the car's sensory system.
That's a great way to put it. And you can't just glue in the new glass and plug the camera back in. It doesn't work like that.
Why not?
Because the system is calibrated with microscopic precision. The camera is designed to look through the glass at a very specific angle. Even a tiny, tiny shift can throw the whole thing off. It needs to be recalibrated.
And this calibration, this is the hidden cost.
This is the main driver of that price jump. After the new glass is in, the vehicle has to be hooked up to special equipment. The technician basically has to reteach the car's computer where the road is.
Wow, so it's not just a half-hour job anymore.
Not at all. It's a specialized technical procedure, and that procedure comes with a price tag.
So let's talk numbers. How much does that calibration service add to the final bill?
According to the data, just the calibration can add another $150 to $300.
Just for the calibration.
Just for the calibration.
So that simple $250 windshield job on an old Civic suddenly becomes a $600 repair on a new SUV, all because of that one mandatory step.
That's it. It's not the glass that's so expensive. It's resighting the digital systems behind it.
Okay, that makes so much sense. So that explains the labor. But that leads to the next choice you have to make, right? The glass itself.
Yes, exactly. Once you know calibration is on the table, you have to decide between OEM and aftermarket glass.
Let's break that down. What is OEM?
OEM stands for Original Equipment Manufacturer. It's glass made by the same company that made the original windshield for your car when it was built.
So it's a perfect match.
A guaranteed perfect match, down to the exact thickness, curvature, and optical clarity that those sensitive ADS cameras are expecting.
And the alternative is aftermarket.
Right. Aftermarket glass is made by a third-party company. Now, it's important to say it has to meet all the same federal safety standards. It's perfectly safe.
Was a but.
There's a but. There might be, minuscule variations, a tiny difference in the glass thickness or optical quality, things your eye would never notice.
But the camera might.
The camera definitely might. And when a system is trying to judge distances and read lane lines, those tiny variables can sometimes complicate the calibration process.
I see. So the argument for paying more for OEM is basically buying certainty.
It's peace of mind. You're eliminating one more variable from a very sensitive equation.
So what's the price difference we're talking about? How much more is OVM?
It's a noticeable premium. OEM glass typically costs about 15 to 30% more than a high-quality aftermarket version.
So you, as the car owner, have to weigh that extra cost against the desire for that perfect factory spec fit.
It's a personal calculation, absolutely.
Okay, so that covers the vehicle tech and the glass itself. Let's bring this back home to Portland. How does our local market affect the final bill?
This was actually a really interesting point in the source material. The labor costs for glass installation here in Portland are surprisingly very competitive.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah, compared to other big West Coast cities like, say, Seattle or San Francisco, our local labor rates are quite reasonable.
So while the calibration cost is kind of a fixed, non-negotiable thing based on technology.
The hourly rate for the person actually doing the work might be better here than elsewhere.
Okay, but even with good labor rates, you need to know what you're paying for.
Oh, absolutely. Transparency is everything here. Because of that huge potential price swing, you have to get an apples-to-apples comparison when you're calling around for quotes.
So what does a good, transparent quote look like? What should you be asking for specifically?
You should insist on an itemized breakdown. A good shop will have no problem giving you that.
So not just one lump sum.
No, never. You need to see a separate line item for the cost of the glass itself, and it should say if it's OEM or aftermarket, then a line for the installation labor, and, critically, a separate line item for the ADS calibration.
And if they try to bundle labor and calibration together?
I'd be wary. That can hide how much you're really paying for that specialized service.
Yeah.
Seeing it broken down lets you compare shops fairly and ensures there are no surprises when you get the final bill.
That is fantastic practical advice. Okay, let's pull this all together. For our listener in Portland with that cracked windshield, what are the 3 big takeaways?
First, your vehicle's age and model. Is it a simple, older car in that $200 to $350 range? Or a modern car with more complications?
Second, does it have 80s? If you have those advanced safety features, you must budget for that separate, non-optional calibration, which adds another $150 to $300.
And third, your choice of glass. Are you paying that 15 to 30% premium for the peace of mind that comes with OEM glass? Or are you going with a quality aftermarket option?
And at the end of the day, this isn't just about looks or convenience. A compromised windshield can affect the car's structural integrity and, more importantly, its safety systems.
Absolutely. You have to get it fixed right the first time. Taking a shortcut on the calibration, for example, is just not a risk worth taking.
Making sure that lane-keeping cameras actually looking at the right place seems pretty critical.
Yeah, to say the least.
Before we sign off, you brought up a really interesting thought about where all this is heading long-term.
Well, I was just thinking, if you connect the dots, we see repair costs for something as simple as a windshield jumping from $200 to $600 because of this technology.
And that technology is only becoming more common. Soon it'll be standard on every car.
Exactly. The low-end, simple repair is going extinct. And that leads to a bigger question for all of us. How is this mandatory rising cost for routine repairs going to reshape things like car insurance policies or the total cost of ownership?
When a simple cracked windshield is a $600 or $700 claim, premiums have to go up eventually.
They almost have to. The very definition of a cheap, simple repair is changing right before our eyes. It's definitely something to watch.
A fascinating and slightly sobering thought to end on. The hidden cost of progress. Well, we will leave you with that. Thanks for diving deep with us.